Hello, children. Are you ready for some cutting up and kikiing? Are you ready for a gay old time? Well, I hope you are, because now it's time for Hey Qween with your host, Jonny McGovern.
Hey Qween, come on and spill the tea. Hey Qween, it's just a good old-fashioned kiki. Hey Qween, we're cutting up with Jonny. Hey, 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 hey Qween.
Hello, my gorgeous glamazons of Gagopolis, and welcome to another body episode of Hey Qween with me, your host, Jonny McGovern. In the house today is an unforgettable queen who is fun, frank, and fashionable. She's a hardworking activist, she's a supermodel, she's a pioneer. You've seen her all over the airwaves. The remarkable Carmen Carrera is here today. But before she dazzles on out here, there's another queen I must acknowledge. She's the sovereign of all things sparkly. And like any jeweled ruler, she dictates with a diamond fist. She's the fast forward button on the commercials of my life. I'm talking about the foxy, oxy, Lady Red Couture. Oh, well, hey, Qween.
Hey, Qween.
Oh, well. You want me to do what?
I want you to eat it, son.
Oh my goodness. Madam, please.
That is the way you get trained.
Oh, yeah?
You know what I'm saying? You start off sweet. Oh, yes. No, don't. And then when they get down there, you say, now eat it. You know what I mean? That's the way you do it. You're not tricking them. You're just baiting them, you know?
Oh,
yes.
Okay. Now, do a lot of people, what happens after the eat it part? They either come or go, I guess.
They do both.
First they come and then they go?
Well, sometimes.
Oh, Lady Red.
Sometimes they go and then they come.
Oh, my goodness. Well, I don't know how that's very metaphysical, actually.
Oh, well, you know.
Oh, Lady Red, please. Please, you buzzum.
Well, why have titties if you can't show your nipples?
You're right.
What I'm
you
saying?
Bought and paid for those nipples.
Yes.
You should be able to do whatever you
Whatever I want to do with them.
Oh, well, honey, this is quite a show today. We've been trying to get this diva on the couch for a long time.
Yes, baby, yes. Last time we saw her was in
London.
Work the World. Yeah, a long time ago.
The drag world.
Drag world, there you go.
Exactly.
Work the world. Everybody's doing something for the world.
We were all working the world at that time. And the part of the world that we were working was London.
Yes, baby. Oh, I'm so excited.
Yes, it is going to be a great show. Tea will be spilled and fun will be had.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
And we're going to be with our Carmen Carrera right after this Very J break. Yeah! We're back. Honey, she is a supermodel. She is an activist. She's an actress. She is stunning. I'm talking about Carmen Carrera. Yay!
Hi, how are you?
Qween.
Hey, Qween. Thanks for having me on the show. I'm a huge fan of the show.
Well, welcome to LA. You just moved here. Mm-hmm. Lady Red, we got another supermodel in here, so don't be trying to pull no stunts to get focused.
Now, hold on. You know, as a super murder, there are very many categories. And as the bigger one, I love the little ones. So yes, of course.
And we are all inclusive over here.
Yes, we are. This is the headquarters of intersectionality, sweetie.
Yes.
And since Drag Race, you've lived a whole nother life. You've become a supermodel. You've worked with some of the biggest photographers in the world. Mm-hmm. You've been all over the place.
Yeah, I feel like I'm just getting started too.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a lot. You know, it's you have to be open to adapting and growing. You know, you can't get too stuck in like your ego or who you want to project, because ultimately you won't be able to tell how people are judging you. Like it's one thing to go on a drag show. You sort of already can expect what people like, what they want to see. But when you are sort of trailblazing in an industry that is not very accepting of who you are, it makes it a little bit more difficult. But I think that's why God put me in that position, you know, is to really strengthen up, toughen up, be more secure in myself. And it's helped me as a trans person to just really be free to like slip into myself and be myself, my true self.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, you've been traveling the world to raise awareness for trans people everywhere. Tell me about some of those travels. That must be a lot.
Yeah, well, I started off in Brazil. From there, we shot a documentary with HBO, and we wanted to speak about how dangerous it is to be trans and live in Brazil. It's worse now because of the president that they just elected. It's one of the it has the highest murder rate of anywhere else, and it's been great to connect to young people and give them a few sentences that give them a whole new perspective on life, because sometimes all you need is that reassurance and that little boost of confidence.
Right.
Because I know a lot of these kids have heard the wishful thinking, like, things get better, don't worry about it, but they don't have the tools and the resources that they need mentally to really set that into motion and have that attitude and be confident in who they are. So that's sort of like where my work comes in, because I've questioned myself so many times. I
mean, you've had to do it all publicly.
Yeah.
That's not easy.
Which is the scariest thing, because you have all these opinions thrown at you, and secretly inside, like, my inner child is just screaming for love too. So that's where we connect, is like, I know this pain that you feel, and I want to take it away from you, and I want to get rid of it because it's not yours. It's been projected onto you from society or from people who don't understand you. So that's sort of like, what I do.
So you were on Drag Race. It's obviously a show about drag, and when you decided to transition, there was no real way for you to privately transition. Tell me about that experience, and because you made it public to sort of help other people with their transition, but that can't have been easy to do under the eyeball of not only RuPaul's Drag Race fans, but all of social media. Tell me a little bit about that and what that was like.
Well, so this is how it was. I knew I was gonna transition before Drag Race.
Right.
Okay. So when I was cast, I was super excited because I'm like, okay, I don't know how my family is gonna take it. I don't know, how my mom truly feels about, her one and only son at the time transitioning. Like, I was really fearful. So I'm like, okay, if I do Drag Race, I know for a fact that if my mom ever missed me, or if anyone ever missed who I was at that time, like, that'd be my little time capsule. So they can go back and they can see that I was just sort of like a young club kid enjoying myself, you know. And that's how it started. And then, so after I filmed Drag Race, I immediately started my transition, and people started to notice because, I'm thinking no one will notice. No one will see that my hair is like naturally longer or that I'm growing breasts. Like, no, who's gonna see that? Yeah, right. Everyone noticed, and I felt all this love from going on tour. It was something new. You start off in the nightlife scene, you go on TV, and then all of a sudden you're booked across the country. Right. And I was getting all this love, and I started to feel guilty. I'm like, am I lying to people? Like, I really should just be honest and say, hey, listen, this is what it is, because people are speculating. So that's what I did. I went on YouTube with my husband at the time, and I was like, listen, I'm transitioning, and this is it. And that got me so much more attention. I didn't realize I was gonna be so loved. And then I got signed to Elite Models, and I was photographed by Meisel, and that put me on CNN, on all these mainstream, like Inside Edition. It was insane. I was just like, what is happening to me? Like, and it was at a time when I was transitioning. I was extremely vulnerable. I didn't know who I was. I was sort of like diminishing who I used to be, and I was very vulnerable. Trying to figure out, like, what kind of girl am I? Like I know that I want to transition to female, but who am I? Like, it was really like those questions. So it was tough because I thought people were gonna love me right away, but I think that's part of trailblazing, is that you kind of take the hardest hits, the most ignorance. And thankfully, Laverne, she came through and educated everybody for me, because I couldn't even form the words, at the time. I was just like, I don't know, like, I'm a girl now, let's have fun. That was sort of like my outlook on it. And yeah, that's basically how it happened. And I've been sort of like trying to build something that it hasn't ever been before. There hasn't been like a multifaceted trans talent ever, So that's what I've been working on for the past couple of years, ever since.
Tell me about the moment when you step on set with Meisel, sweetie.
Oh my
because,
God.
Girl, you were working in the nightclub, changing in the kitchen, giving
yes,
a
girl,
hair
I used to do all of that. Tucking in the closet. Okay. Yes, peeing in the trash can.
Right. So we all know what working in nightlife is like.
Yeah.
It can look glamorous at moments, but it's not. And then suddenly you're on Drag Race, then you get signed to Elite Models, and then you're working with Stephen Meisel.
Yeah.
Take me there, because there's got to be a lot of inner monologue going on there, sweetie.
Yeah.
Look at that. Stunning.
Yeah, I mean, I was really nervous. There was a whole group of male models that were fine as hell. And I just was trying to channel like just my very best. And the way that Steven works is that it's him and his team of photographers. So they're photographing you from every single angle.
Wow.
Yeah, it was at the, it's called the Edison Ballroom in Manhattan. We were there for 3 days. And W Magazine, first of all, has the best pull ever. Like, they were like, okay, we're gonna do a shot with Louis Vuitton. All right, boop, 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 boop. Literally an hour later, we had a fleet of Louis Vuitton, everything you can possibly imagine.
Damn.
Trunks, luggage, like just vintage stuff. You know, I was just like, wow. It was like, I was blown away. My ADD like kicked in like extra, you know, like I wanted to take everything home. Everything was in my size. So that's what made it worse. And yeah, it was just really beautiful. And I was like, wow, this is gonna be another time capsule in my life, because I wanted to focus on modeling. I wanted to be taken seriously as a model. There's had never been a trans model that was openly trans in the modeling industry at the time. Everyone was resistant to it. And then the petition came out. My fans made a petition for me to walk the Victoria's Secret show, which made it even worse, because people were like, no, a transgender, no. Like, it was really hard back then, because I felt like I couldn't celebrate my own victory because I knew of all of the resistance I was facing. So I just remember wanting to do my best, wanting to make sure that I put my very best on film, because afterwards I was gonna probably be in the fight of my life. Yeah.
And did you feel like you were after that? That it was the fight of your life?
Yeah, absolutely.
And what was the hardest part? Was it resistance from the Drag Race fan group? Was it just the patriarchy in fucking general? What was the
patriarchy?
What was it?
Absolutely. You know, it was sort of a battle. What I remember back then was I had come out and I made a critique about a female or she-male game on Drag Race, and it was at the time that all these new things were happening to me, and I was trying to break ground. The petition was out there, and I started to lose support from the fans because they felt like, you know, I was biting the hand that fed me, or I was just being like, I felt like I was too good. Whatever these people thought that I was projecting was completely false. You know, I wanted to stand up for what I felt was right in a respectful way. You know, I never put the show down. I never cussed anyone out. I wanted to be diplomatic about it because I still love Drag Race. I still, my heart is in the show. That's how I started, you know?
That's the spotlight and the platform that you first got.
Yeah, so it was kind of like, so I was losing support from the Drag Race fans, and, you know, in mainstream, I guess the patriarchy, they're like all about the followers. They're like, well, if you don't have a Gigi Gorgeous million followers, then it's gonna be a liability for us to put you in the show. And I'm like, but, you know, I'm not a YouTuber, I'm not an influencer, that's not my job, so you can't expect me to have influencer numbers. You know, I'm just an honest person that was blessed to have a whole bunch of people wanting to support me to walk this show. Like, let's make it happen. And then I went through the sort of channels. You know, they're like, well, if you want to be a model, your boobs are 32 triple D, those have to go. And your waist, your hips are 42, your waist is a 28, we need it down to a 24. Wow. And I did it. And I did it for 2 years. I lost a shit ton of weight. My mom was like, what the hell are you doing? This doesn't even look like you. And I was like, Mom, just trust me. It's gonna work, okay? Of course it didn't.
Like, what is the regime that gets you down to a 24-inch waist?
Just, oh my gosh.
Lady Red, get up by your pads. Start taking notes for me.
Chicken every day. Okay. I'm gonna tell you the secret. This is not healthy. You didn't hear this from me.
Is it real chicken or faux chicken?
No, it's real chicken.
Okay, real chicken.
So you're gonna have 4 boiled eggs every morning with a cup of espresso.
Okay. Jesus. Okay, go ahead.
And some English muffin, double protein English muffins. That's your breakfast.
Okay.
Your lunch and your dinner will be a rotisserie chicken, an entire rotisserie chicken a day.
Okay, that's nice. I like that.
With just spinach leaves and broccoli. No dressing, no butter,
seasoning salt?
no cheese, no nothing.
Jesus Christ.
And you eat that for like 2 or 3 weeks straight, and you do cardio twice a day, morning and night. And I lost like 40 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah.
In what period of time?
And it was like a month and a half or so.
Ooh,
Yeah,
honey.
I was really, really skinny, and you know, and then all of a sudden they're like the designers, yes, you know, come open up for this show and open up for that show, and I thought I was like doing something amazing, but then I'm thinking back and I'm like, wait a minute, like I stand for women, I stand for equality, why am I trying to fit who the patriarchy wants me to be?
Right.
What am I doing? You know,
Right.
I had that sort of moment of like, I don't feel good, this doesn't feel healthy. And then I just stopped. I moved to Wilhelmina, who accepts me for who I am, and I ended up booking Miami Swim Week last summer. I was the first trans model walk Miami Swim Week, and there we are, I guess. Yeah.
Hey Queens, thanks for watching. For part 2 of this interview, click here. For more Hey Queen fabulousness, click here. And of course, don't forget to subscribe.